Hello, today's episode number 136 of the Professor Slots podcast discusses slot manufacturer IGT. Plus, in this episode, I'll be covering the current state of slot machine casino gambling in the great U.S. state of Minnesota. Thank you for joining me for the Professor Slots podcast show. I'm John Friedel, and this is the podcast about slot machine casino gambling. It is where I provide knowledge, insights, and tools for helping you improve your slot machine gambling performance. In case you missed it, on my last episode, I went over Atlantic City's return to player during the 2020 pandemic. Further, I reviewed Massachusetts and Michigan slot machine casino gambling in 2021. I hope you enjoyed listening to my last episode as much as I enjoyed making it for you. Remember to visit professorslots.com/subscribe to get my free report revealing the top 7 online resources for improving your gambling performance, including the one I've used as a top-tier slot machine casino gambler. Here's the audio recording of my latest live stream Q&A session. Hello, slots enthusiasts. How are you? I'm John Friedel. Welcome to Professor Slots, a channel where you can learn to play slots smarter and leave the casino with your winnings. It's great to see you all here again for another weekly live stream where I review slots-related topics of interest to slots enthusiasts. If you're with us live, be sure to say hello and ask your slots-related questions. I'll check in with a live chat a little later in the show. Oh, and a special thanks to Paula for being our moderator today. Thanks, Paula. Before we get started, I have a quick reminder that pre-orders are available for my first online course, 30 Days to Play Slots Smarter and Win. It's 30 lessons, which can be completed at a leisurely pace of 1 lesson per day, or if you want to be less leisurely, it can be completed a whole lot faster. So I don't recommend finishing the whole course in a day because there are some assignments and concepts you may need to take time to consider. But yes, it can be completed in a day, if rather long day. So a bunch of you have already signed up for this course, especially those of you here now in the live chat. But I wanted to mention it early in the show, primarily for those viewers watching the recording of this live stream later. This online course is a beta test version discounted over 50% its regular price. Further, I'm pre-selling it to gauge interest. Therefore, thankfully, there's been a lot of interest. There's been a lot of interest since pre-selling began 1 month ago today, I think it was. So while you can buy it now, my 30-day course will launch on Friday, May 7th at 8 a.m. Along with the course of valuable bonuses, especially getting lifetime access to the course. My decision to give lifetime access means that purchasing this beta version now at $100 off will get you full access to all the updated, non-beta, improved versions of the course in the future. You can sign up at courses.professorslots.com/courses/30 days. So there's a link in the description with that link. And this is where you can to take you to this discounted version when it launches in a few weeks, as well as the bonus opportunity to suggest additional content for the course. So as beta testers, you'll be able to suggest a topic that's important to you that you'd like covered by the course, if it isn't already. I take that feedback very seriously. So let me show you the course sign-up page. Here it is. Just to show you this, the course, let's see here. The course description is here, and pre-ordering is available. Again, I'm going to launch on May 7th at 8 a.m. And you can see that's about 19 days, 15 hours away, and less than 3 weeks. So don't wait to register, because early on the morning of May 7th, the course price will more than double as I increase it to its regular long-term cost. I wouldn't want you to miss that 50% discount. There's still plenty for me to do to get ready for launching, but I'm excited to be making this self-led online course for slots enthusiasts available to you. So we have a couple of donations. That was loud. From Sally, she is in and out. She said in the pre-show text chat conversation, she's in and out running errands, and she'll be back. She might be back now, but she gave a $20.21 donation, which I appreciate your support of the business, Sally. Thank you so much. And we also have Chuck. Chuck, we were talking about the less than ideal weather, slightly cold across the United States where everybody's from. And so when he says seems like a good day for a hand pay in his super chat, then that's why it was part of the context of the conversation at the time. Thank you, Chuck, for your donation and the support of the show. It's very much appreciated. If anybody wants to donate, you can find that at the end bottom of the live chat, which is available during the live stream only. If you're watching this later, and of course on the podcast, you'll have to go to professorslots.com/donate. If you win $10,000 in the casino, feel free to give me $10 if I helped. Only if I helped. Okay. In today's topic, we're diving into one of the world's largest gaming companies, International Gaming Technologies, also known as IGT, who does a lot more than just manufacture the slots machines we love to play. Games include the long-standing Wheel of Fortune, but some of their most popular video slots games in 2020 were Hexbreaker 3, Wolf Run Gold, and Treasure Box Kingdom. Now, they have 400 varieties of Wheel of Fortune, more than 400 different versions of Wheel of Fortune. So there's many varieties of their newer products as well. So different credit amounts, progressive, not progressive, etc. So, but if you've played these games, please let us know what you thought of them in the comments or video comments, or if you're with us live in the live chat. But let's back up for a second. Where am I getting this information on IGT, and why am I reviewing it for you? I'm going to make sure everything is running okay. Excellent. International Game Technology. I always mess that up, but it's International Game Technologies. It's not gaming. PLC is a multinational company that manufactures slot machines. As a primary and world-leading gaming manufacturer, IGT PLC. And I want to add the PLC because it's a detail. There's organizations under it, also called IGT, and a couple of them actually. So this is the parent company. Now, IGT PLC also provides gaming technology for casino operators, lottery, sports betting, online gaming, and quite a few other things. We'll go over some of that because it matters for us in the machine gaming section. So IGT PLC files their annual 20F financial report with the SEC. Now, they did this on March 2nd, a few weeks ago. Because of the legal requirements for SEC, Security Exchange Commission reports, they have to be honest and easy to read. So they're reviewing their report annually, allows us a glimpse into the future of slot machine gambling in the U.S. and abroad. Most people who read these reports are financial investors, not slots players looking for advantage plays, which is the intent of this live stream. If you plan to invest in IGT PLC, oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Jan. Thanks for all your excellent leadership, Jan says in a super chat for $50.01. Thank you. Much appreciated. Right. So if you are an investor, this is not really a presentation on investments. We'll be looking at some of the reports that you'd be looking at, but not the sections of that report. We're looking at things that can give us an advantage play. So we kind of understand, will we see more of IGT? Will we see less? What exactly do they do? And what's their touch points with us? So, if you're an investor, you want to perform your own annual and a review of annual and quarterly reports. Their investors relations page on their web page can be very helpful for doing that. In fact, let's go take a look at that, because that is exactly where we want to go as slots enthusiasts. And I'll share that here. Right. So if you just go to IGT PLC right across the top here, you will see their main page. And it's going to basically talk about some of the products across the banner across the top. And I never do like it when it kind of like switches all the time. But and according to my work on my own website, it's not popular with many. Right. So the primary place we want to go is over here up on this side where it says products and services. And I'm going to start here because I want to talk about some of the games. Do you play Wheel of Fortune? Do you play Regal Riches? Treasure Box? I mentioned that one. Superstar Poker 2. And so over here on the side, you can look up some of the games. Now, there are some access for everybody, and then there's access for people who are customers. And so we will look at what's going on. So if I were to search, well, let's start here. There are wide area progressives. This is more than one casino. This is a multi-level progressives. This can include several in a casino or standalone. And you can find out if IGT is the owner of these if you click on them, because let's say I do wide area progressives. It thinks about it, and they have all of these. So they own Megabucks. And many others, and there's actually several forms of Megabucks, and they work. And this is all part of what slot manufacturers do. When you have a wide area progressive, you want to have somebody who's sort of in charge, and every casino that might have some of those machines in the big network really isn't appropriate. So there's like a neutral party, which would be the manufacturer of the slot machine. So IGT provides that for a service, and then if somebody wins, then they are informed. Life-changing $1 million jackpots. They will then inform all the partners, including the casinos at which there wasn't a winner, and then they work out the arrangements. That's why these wide area progressive life-changing jackpots can take 8 hours before the winner is paid. Or if the other participants, the other casinos object, say that there's something fishy going on or something like that, then it could take a lot longer. They're becoming less popular because of the legal liabilities issues, but that's sort of a topic for another day when we talk about progressive slots. But if we switch over to multi-level progressives, these would be more in the casino, either standalone or small networks of a row machine, carousel machines. And there's a variety of here. Then you've got the definitely standalone non-progressive machines. And I'm just giving you a quick glance at what machines you might have played. Again, lots of Wheel of Fortune. And you can see when I say there's like over 400, we can look it up by using the search at the top. But there's just so many varieties of that. I have a question from Jan. Do I own any slot manufacturer stock? No, I don't. I'm pretty diversified. When I was working at the company, 2 companies, jet engine manufacturers, not much of that was those manufacturers, even though we all need jet travel and jet engines. I still prefer to diversify quite a bit. That being said, I have to wonder if somewhere deep in there I don't have like some, but it wasn't ever deliberate on my part. Right. So good question. And so skill-based, I tried to go here earlier, and it says that they're not finding any results, but there's another section down here. I know a lot of you are in Oklahoma or other states with tribal casinos that might have class 2. There's a central determination system. I'm not going to spend much time here. I just want to point this out. You can go to IGT.com, easy enough to remember URL. You can go there and look for yourself. But there's some Class 2 games. These are the Class 2 games that they manufacture, but and also electronic bingo, they call it. But there's also interesting to see Washington State CDS, Central Determination Systems. So these are the machines you would find in the state of Washington. Now, Washington, and I won't go on about this because we want to stay on point, but Washington has a very unique system where they have video lottery terminals. Now, it is not the lottery where mega bucks, mega lot, Powerball, those others where it's you choose numbers. Instead, it's scratch tickets. So Washington State has a video lottery system, not based on a drawing, but rather based on scratch tickets. And these are all electronic, so there's no coin to scratch it, but still made in batches and then open one by one electronically by the machines in Washington off-site and pre-manufactured batches. And so who makes those machines? IGT makes those machines. And these are some of the machines, 38 different varieties. So I thought you might find that interesting. And for those of you who are members of my YouTube channel, I will answer your questions first. And then for those who second, first I'll answer those questions which are donations. And then third, I will try to answer the questions from people who are neither of those. But we'll wait a little bit as this live stream continues, more and more people show up, and there's probably a better time to start answering questions when we take a break, when I get through a few things I want to say here. Okay. But who was it that asked that question? Vic, can we trust online casinos? No. Easy questions. Give me easy questions. It's too soon. And we can talk a little bit about that. I have received, and I'm trying to be less distracted, but I've been aggressively pursued recently by a company that owns a website that promotes online gambling. I mean, they want to buy my company. And they're pretty aggressive about it. And I'm not interested, but it makes me think that maybe in a few years I should start covering more than just a hint of online gaming. But right now it's just not coming out. And I got some stuff to show you here that relates to that. And it's this is part of what we learn when we go through IGT and all their statements. One thing I'll also say is that I don't just go through IGT. I also go through Scientific Games. I figure the two biggest should give me a general idea of what's going on rather than just relying on one. But they don't have their public, their annual financial report come out quite the same time as IGT. So I'll do them later when their new report came in. I did theirs last year, but I think it was like May. So it's not quite out yet. And so you might see this other Scientific Games Corporation. We can relate to what we're seeing in IGT. Okay. So one of the things this slot manufacturer IGT does is also work in a lot of other areas, but still gaming. And one of them is they provide video lottery machines at convenience stores. The typical lottery machines where you print out a ticket, and they have contracts with these groups, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But some of them that they talk about here, we'll see quite a few of them that they have relationships with. But there are some states, and every state's a little bit different, which will have a video lottery system run by the state lottery. And those machines are provided by IGT in Louisiana, Illinois, West Virginia, South Dakota, Montana, and Georgia. So we'll look at some of this a little more detail in a moment. So I want to take you over to this other tab. It says Explore IGT. And if you go over to, where is it? It is Investor Resources right here. I click on that. This is Investor Resources, and some of the stuff was already mentioned, are already kind of available in that tab, but we want to go to Investor Resources. Is that right? We're already there. Financial information, SEC filings. Now, you can go to sec.gov, but their search tool leaves something to be desired, shall we say. But here you'll find it. So they have many things they have to report to the SEC. This is an Italian company. IGT is an Italian company, but they're worldwide, and they need to report to the Security Exchange Commission in the United States. And the annual report is called a 20F, right here. And there's every year is here, but the most recent dates are here. So in March 2nd, 2021, they supplied a 20F. It's a 10Q if the company is based in the United States, like Scientific Games Corporation. So you can go over here and you can click the PDF. You can get it in a variety of formats, but you can get the PDF, and this is what it looks like. Now, this is a little bit kind of hard to work with, so I downloaded it and I open it in a reader. But before we do that, I also want to point out that there is under financial information, there's quarterly reports. So there's this, so the SEC filings, right? That's all official, and it follows the law, being clear and etc. But where was it? I wanted to show you, presentations. That's what I wanted to show you. Quarterly presentations, quarterly earnings. Yeah, so you can start looking at some of the webcasts and the presentations that they make. There's one of these. So they haven't had any in 2021. There's some stock information here. I think it is. There's one of these that I opened up and I found, where was it? I found this. Investor relations, right? Investor relations. And there is some reports here that are quarterly, and the fourth quarter report with the fourth quarter report. Where are you at? There. The fourth quarter report is a little bit different. It has a lot of the information that you would find in the PDF that was given to SEC. But I want to point out here that the PDF is 462 pages long. We're only going to be looking at some things on the first 20 pages, but it is quite the read. And I just pull out the stuff slots enthusiasts are interested in. And I hope that makes sense for considering, investments. There's a lot more to be read there. But one of the things, so I'm going to go flip through first some earnings, and I have a few things highlighted here. So this is some presentation they gave on a webinar. It's freely available. I'm not violating any copyright because it's out there for investors. And so there's a couple of things that I wanted to point out, and let's just try to get through them. I don't want to talk about cash flows, savings, commitments. The global lottery sales were stable through the pandemic. And in fact, that had some expansion in North America. So the company actually didn't lose too much money due to the pandemic because their lottery sales went up. And also they divested something called B2C, an Italian company we don't have too much to do with. They decided to get rid of that, sell it. And so we'll see a little bit of that conversation. Again, I'm not trying to focus on investments. So they talk about this. So this presentation here is by executives to investors, and it's a lot of feel-good stuff. I like the other report better because it is fully detailed. and not meant to be rosy, even if it's not rosy. So, what was I wanted to say? So they did some restructuring, some cost savings that they were expecting. They announced an agreement to sell Italy's B2C gaming machine and sports betting activities for, what is it? Lire in Italy, 950 million, and it takes time to do this, but they expect to do that in the first half of this year, and that's kind of a mix of what all that is they sold. What else? Global same-store sales were stable. They seem to be emphasizing that. You can see some of the sales growth over here, how the negative amounts in end of 2019 and first 2 quarters of 2020. Moving on. Strong start to 2021, steady growth. Now, I highlighted in green something that they say here. Their global gaming business is sustained due to innovation, but I think we have a few people that are here from Canada and UK and sometimes Australia. All casinos are closed globally for the most part. Some are open with restrictions. The US casinos are open with restrictions, and maybe not too many of those these days. So when you start thinking about slots globally, please understand that the pandemic has shut the casinos. They're closed. Anyway, this is a sort of wide area perspective that you get. Here's a list of a couple other machines, the ones that are most popular, driven some growth. There's a statement in here which I thought was interesting for those who do betting and some other stuff, or we had a question about online slots. They're looking by 2023. They're in negotiations to have contracts to set up systems, just IGT. This is not all. This is just for this company, but a major one who does this. They're looking at getting digital online slots in an additional 6 states. Now, understand this came out like 3-4 weeks ago. It came out early last month. So actually more like 6 weeks. And so by 2023, not in 2020, but by the end of next year, end of 2022, 6 additional states will have, online slots, and sports betting will be in 23 additional states. And that the iLottery, which I'm not quite, that might be slots related. That's going to be in 3 states as well. So they say that they will have 20 to 30% of the online gaming, which could be sports betting, iLottery, iGaming, 20 to 30% share in the North America gaming market, which includes Canada, of course. Okay, so these are the things you learn. This is one of the rare places, Scientific Games Annual Report being another one, where we can look at what's going on and what to expect. And see if I can pull out what I usually do is write an article every year based on this, and I just try to pull out certain things that I think you would find interesting. And some of it is just comparing the previous years. So it's a kind of a detailed analysis, not hard for you, hard for me, but not hard for you. I just lay it out there and tell you where I found it and what I think, the new technologies that are available and some other stuff. So that's about it for this report. Yeah. They have tables of data, but again, this is not what we want to talk about here. Investment stuff. So this is the 462 page 20-F annual financial report submitted to the Security Exchange Commission, SEC.gov, March 2nd, 2021, 6 weeks ago or so. And they are looking at, there's a lot of things in here, but what I like to look at is the risk factors. Now, they are legally required to speak in layman's language. They can't be saying words we don't understand, even if you do have an MBA, or not. And so there's a bunch of different sections. And what I like is, there's a section called forward-looking statements. And this is where they give a summary and also explain that they are legally required to say certain things, and they have to discuss their goals, their intentions, their expectations, their future plans, trends, events, results of operations, financial condition. They have to be clear about what some of the difficulties might be. And I won't bore you by going back to the March 2020 report, which I reviewed and wrote up just prior to everything being shut down for the pandemic. And they had a few things in there, but it wasn't anything called COVID. But this one's got a bunch of references to COVID. But the other one was like, well, we could have a global pandemic, I guess, but we're more concerned about some other stuff. And so they are thorough, and that's and some of these things are something that you might want to think about. Now, the pandemic, I've highlighted a few things. The pandemic is not over. They'll say that a bunch of times. The effect of the pandemic is somewhat unknown on their operations, and that also means that there's another one here I'm highlighting there. This is pretty small. Let me try here. Okay, so you should be able to read that. Even if you're on a little phone. Okay, so here they talk about competitive factors in the industries. These, you think casinos are competitive. These companies are competitive. They're just working. The lottery agreements with Louisiana, Georgia, all those are competitive. Not only that, but the territory, the state that has these can actually cancel it for cause and before the end of the contract. So all this is very competitive. And they talk about how that's a risk of attracting new customers and retaining existing customers, changes in regulation. You think gaming regulations might change? They're changing everywhere. With all these sports betting and online gaming, we just saw the list, 23 more states by the end of 2022 that will have sports betting. Poof, wow. So yes, there is real risk for the company with these changes. And one of the things that's kind of interesting is, and I can't really highlight it, but is the Wire Act. Now, if you're going to be online, how do you get money to that online slots company? How do you get money from that online slots company when gaming jurisdictions are state by state? And crossing a state line with funds like this how does that work? And it's a real restriction. Now, I won't get into online gaming because it's not really my topic. Maybe probably eventually, when more people have it, when 23 more states have it. But there's just too many that don't. And I'll work on it later. But the Wire Act is a law that allows, with restrictions, transfer of money across state line, and that it's a law, and it becomes, and it's also country by country. It's something that makes it how it is interpreted is always a matter of law, and anything that's new has to be interpreted as, what does this mean as far as following it? Because sometimes the legislature is not clear. Do you remember in Louisiana? Maybe you saw my article on Louisiana, and the state government said, I think it would be fine. I mean, paraphrasing, of course. I think it would be fine if we allowed to have video poker machines in truck stops. Yeah, truck stops. That would be fine. Good. What they meant was those like islands where 50 big trucks, semi-trailers could come in and park and spend the night and get a shower and all of this. Apparently that's what they meant. But now when they came back, they weren't clear. They just assumed everybody knew. And so when the applicants came in, they said, well, I have a corner bar. Trucks stop here, Dodges and Fords and, occasional Nissan. Um, and so because they were clearly defining what was a truck stop, every place that served alcohol was able to get it, something like 3,000 in Louisiana, and they were inundated. The State Gaming Commission was inundated with those requests. This is a couple of years ago, not too many years ago. Now, there's uncertainties having to do with Brexit. So anytime you see something in the news about Brexit, understand that there's implications. One of the things I wanted to mention for the question we had on online slots is we are opening, markets are opening in the United States pretty regularly. And these are just virgin markets, okay? The people don't know anything. The state legislatures don't know anything, but these mature online gaming companies are coming in and they're taking advantage. It's not breaking the law. It's just the laws aren't very good because they need to be updated, improved, and they did the best they could to prepare them. But now it's an interesting time, and that's basically a high-level situation. Now, one of the things those companies are doing is letting people win. It's like opening a casino in a cornfield. Right. And no casino but ever been there before. And so you have to train the 100, within 100 miles, all the people who've never been to a casino before, you have to train them. And one of the things you do is let them win. It's all part of the investment of a physical casino. Well, before the building is built is, okay, so how long do we let them win? Put a budget into that. And then 1 month, in the second month you get paid, or as with Miami Valley Gaming in Ohio, or you can look down, and I have a report at professorslots.com/ABC27 you can look at that documents all this for Pennsylvania. But the idea of these gaming companies coming in and letting people win is to get them hooked. And then is it going to be a month? Is it going to be a year when they're going to get paid? And that's kind of how that's going to work because it's economics. Okay, sure. Now, if you wanted to go to the UK websites, they're mature players, mature industry. And you can look for some of the websites that will review and rank and consider the trustfulness and verify a bunch of online, including the biggest ones, online businesses, and they will rank them, and you can get a very good idea what they are good at and what their reputation is and whether or not they're fair, whether or not they're honest, all that, and very detailed records. And I just love those websites, but I can't find a single one in the United States at this point, but UK has them. Okay. I hope that helps some things. I'm going to flip through more pages. Right. Here are the risk factors. And I honestly I want to get to some of the questions. I spend most of my time here, and I will show you a few things. They've been categorized, and I'll have an article on this probably, well, I'm really trying to focus on working on the course, but eventually I'll update my article from last year. You can look at it now and see what it looks like. I'll update it with what's new this year, what I think is important to you. But again, it's 462 pages, so I'm going to just try to stick with certain things. One of the things, these risk factors are divided up into several different groups, and one of them is the company, business, and industry. So they have exclusive licenses for 11% of their revenue with one company in Italy. Hope that works out well. Otherwise, you get 11% problem with your income. They also have 10 top customers outside of Italy, which have 25% of their business. And hopefully, that goes well. And they're pointing out that has to, because together that's 36% of the company. Okay, more than a third. Then there's different areas of the business. They have a lot of contracts, like I said, with the global lottery that accounts for 56% of their business. And they're going to repeat this statement about the outbreak of the coronavirus. And they'll say this again and again and again throughout this. And there's details here. So every one of these little line items that I will be mentioning has like a long paragraph if you want details. I've shown you where to find it. So more COVID, slow growth or declines in replacement of gaming machines, because they not only sell new ones, they sell replacements. Um, I don't hit the keys hard. Do you hit the keys hard? Well, some of us hit the keys hard. And so there's also whether or not new casinos and gaming halls will open. And so that's something that fluctuates. And you can imagine that, again, COVID is brought up. So I'm trying to get through just a few more comments here. So there's revenues, Brexit, introduction of new products, impact of intellectual property, both their own and others, third party, and the cost of entry. That means sometimes you have to build a building in order to have a casino. But then with online, maybe you just need a server or two. So it becomes easier to become a player. And this industry, of having done this for 3, 4, 5 years now on these analyses, I've seen this expansion and contraction, where there's many businesses and then the bigger ones gobble them all up. And then lots of small businesses start up and then they get gobbled all up. Not unlike what's starting to happen to me with people coming along and saying, I'll make you a cash offer. I'm just like, what? It's funny. They thought, they were doing their analysis before I got on YouTube. And they're like, well, you're going to have 1 million views a month. And I said, well, I had 1 million views in 3 months. And they're like, what? Anyway. So then they switch over to legal and compliance as a topic. And all of these are risks under that. And I'm trying to move past some of this. Operational risks. So they want to make sure they get great personnel. They want to make sure they haven't their personnel that they hire, the people that they already have in the business have high integrity and compliance. There's supply chain risks. You have people that supply buttons and machines, and sometimes those companies go under. There's also cyber risks, cyber attacks, because they have this library of games, particularly online, and they have to be protected. And so this is all the typical stuff. Most of these are every year, and I've highlighted them in the past. Financial risks about indebtedness. For those of you who do investments, this is the section to look through because their dividends, their assets, their disposition, security interests, all that are kind of mentioned here, and I didn't highlight a single one of those. Now, there's also, I want to mention something that could be important. There's a group of owners for this business, and one of them has 50.49%, slightly more than half ownership. And they did this about a year ago. It was either a year ago or 2 years ago, and they just changed as voting interests. They had the opportunity to make all the changes that they would want to, and they did. And we're still seeing some of them. Not that I got into too much of those details. So there's a bit on that. That was a shock that was heard around the world. So there's a couple of things. This is the divestiture of that company we were talking about. I think that's what this one is about. Yeah, Italy B2C transaction, and all of that went into that and when it's going to take place. So I think that's about what I wanted to. Oh, there's a lottery section, and they have machine gaming. That's the one we're interested in. There's some things here about which games. I kind of went over this already when I showed you the website. It's kind of a repeat. Video lottery terminals. These amusement with prize machines, that might be the coin pushers. A lot of people are finding of interest in Pilot and Love's truck stops in the sort of Virginia, Kentucky areas. There's also gaming management systems, right? And something there I wanted to point out. Well, anyway, and there's sports betting and then there's digital. So those are the business sections. Oh, one last thing, commercial services. They don't do that in the United States. This is something mostly for Italy where you can pay bills, you can prepaid like cell phones, make payments, stamps, a lot of other things they provide, but it's not something they do in the United States. Okay, so before I get to the questions in the live chat, since we're now at peak viewers, right? Let's see, make sure I capture all that. Since we're at 84 viewers right now, that a lot more people have come through. Hundreds have come through. I wanted to mention that, again, since we're now at peak viewers, that pre-orders are available for my first online course, 30 Days to Play Slots Smarter and Win. It's 30 lessons that you can complete at a leisurely pace of one lesson per day or a lot faster. So my voice is kind of giving out, but so I will share that with you here. So this is the website. If you're interested, I will put the link into the live chat. It's also in the video description already. And if you're on the podcast later, you can go to courses.professorslots.com and you'll see that my course is there. And right now there's just this one. So a month ago, I started pre-selling it to gauge interest. Based on sales, there's been a lot of interest. You can buy it now before its launch, which is 8 a.m. Eastern time on May 7th. So this is what the countdown clock is indicating. Now, before that happens, I will be raising the price. Earlier, before 8 a.m. on May 7th, I'm going to raise the price to its regular, and I fully expect permanent price of $100 more than that price that's shown here now. So the price will go up. And along with the course, the course are some valuable bonuses. One of them being lifetime access to the course, meaning if you purchase now, which saves you $100 off, you'll get full access for all future updated, non-beta, improved versions of the course. So that's what this is what the course sign-up page looks like. Pre-ordering is available and course launches on May 7th. Don't forget to sign up because I wouldn't want you to miss that 50% discount. So there's a high level what you'll learn. And because I wouldn't want this to be a mystery to you, this is the syllabus. It's not the full syllabus. It's only up to about day 28. There's another couple of sections. I'm limited by what the website will let me do. Okay. For people who don't know me, this is me. There's pricing. You can pay with a debit, credit, and PayPal. That's because I haven't set it up to be 2 payments. It's just 1 payment, and I'll probably stick with that when it goes to $197. But sometimes people find it easier to pay if I break it up into 2 payments. And the course bonuses will be you get a PDF of my book, Learning to Win. This is the hardcover version on Amazon. And you also get my gambling records templates, which I sell for $17, but you'll get that for free. And of course, lifetime access will get you $100 off. And that's basically what's going on with the course. I need more beta testers and looking forward to feedback. This will give you the opportunity, if you are a beta tester, this will give you the opportunity to provide feedback. And if there's some topic that I haven't covered or haven't covered in enough detail and you want more, you can request it. And I'll see if I can work it in. I take all feedback very seriously. So let's switch over to the live chat and see. Okay, so I think I was good up until about there. I'm trying to scan through the live chat for people who are members of my YouTube channel and anyone who I think I captured all of the donations, and you guys get answered first. So let me swing through. And let's see. I answered Vic's question about can we trust online casinos? Is VGT slots a part of IGT? No, Denise, and good to see you here. VGT is a company, but in some states, they are also called video gaming terminals. So it's like video lottery terminals, VLTs. So we saw this is one of the things. The words are not defined well except for class 1, class 2, class 3. That's in a federal law. Everything else is state law. So VGT, as referenced by IGT, was not, they don't own that company. They were talking about video gaming terminals, which is what some states call their video lottery terminals. But I was thinking that if I were to add a third company after IGT and Scientific SGS, Scientific Games Corporation, SGC, I would add VGT, and that's something I'm considering just so I can capture the Class 2 gaming. But you can look it up yourself. Let's see. Question: have you ever played at Seminole Hard Rock Casino? I have played at Seminole Casino in Brighton, but I have not, particularly since the changes in Tampa, haven't been changes. I haven't been out much in the last year. I've probably been out every couple of months to a casino, usually a local casino. It's not worth my life. I think that's the shortest explanation I can give. But I'm fully vaccinated in, 11 days. And so I'm starting to plan trips. At this time, I'm trying to hit sections of the country I need to go to, including my family's favorite casino. I've already done one in Florida, Seminole, Brighton, but that was 2-3 years ago. And now I need to get over to their other one in Michigan, Soaring Eagle. I won't say when I'm going to be there. I'm not looking to have a crowd. I'm looking to review it for them, and my aunt will be so pleased. And Paula's going to come along, I think. Okay. Pat says, as a Washington Slots player, didn't know about the lottery thing. They allowed both. So I will let you, Pat, go to professorslots.com/WA. It's my slot article for Washington, and it explains all of this. Okay, answers there. Leslie, my sister-in-law plays at that casino in Florida, and I have heard rumors that it's one of the tightest casinos around. Yes, and the reason for that is there are no other casinos nearby. It's just a commonly known thing. If there are no other casinos nearby, I mean, what is it? Eastern Idaho has a casino, and the nearest one is like next nearest one is like 400 miles away. The casinos are not oblivious as a business. The casinos are not oblivious to this. They're like, well, we get a little bit of flexibility. So if you go to professorslots.com/ABC27, you'll see an analysis for Southern Pennsylvania, which is not where Philadelphia is with all of its casinos. And they will talk about why is Penn National, a Hollywood casino racetrack, so bad, so tight. And Hard Rock Tampa is the same way for that reason. If you weren't, I got laid off middle of last year, not really because of Corona, but because of some business decisions. Big company. They got rid of 1 out of every 3 people. But I had a technician at the time as aerospace engineer doing inspections. And he told me he'd been there for 35 years or so, and I was only there for like 8.5. And he talked to me about putting his hand in a bucket of water. And the speed at which, if you take your hand out of the water, the speed that the water will rush back in to replace you was what would happen if somebody left, anybody left. And so if you are a person that decides not to go to Hard Rock Tampa because it's too tight, then if you were to leave, your position would probably be filled by 2 people standing on each other's heads or something. They are full up, and no matter what happens. Okay. Leslie also asks, didn't I just answer your question? I have a question about stopping machine once you have hit the button. I didn't understand your answer, which I copied here. I think we talked about not being copied, but when you press the button to make the bet, that is when the decision is made. Everything after that is just for entertainment purposes only. Now, it's not like the person sitting next to you is knowing the answer and watching, or the slot attendant knows the answer, or the machine. Only the machine knows. Maybe it's written down and sent off to the computer in the center of the casino, but that's it. So everybody's just going to wait, including you. And that's the entertainment value. You wait to get the answer. It can be a little hard to make that shift because a lot of people are waiting to see what happens. And Now, if you are on a class 2 machine, those VGTs, that company VGT, the bingo competition style, doesn't always have to be bingo. There's usually a decision point later. Not always. It depends on the state. All these details, caveats. That is a second decision, but you only get 10 choices, and all of them were calculated back when the bet was made. You still have to make a decision. It matters. So on those machines, there might be 10 different outcomes depending on your decision later. Okay, I hope that helps. There's what happens and then the consequences of it, and I kind of combined two answers there. Kissy Cat. Yeah, Lake Charles, Louisiana might have tight machines. Once you start recognizing they're tight, you can start finding patterns in it because technology allows them, the stuff that this company makes, and not just this company, but this company, what am I doing? Not sharing. Stop sharing. Okay. I did that before. The technology is available for them to change it. Often. It used to be every 7 to 10 days, and now it's daily, more than daily. So if you see something where it's better odds in the morning and worse odds in the afternoon when the crowd arrives, it's real. That can happen now, and it's easy for casinos to do that at all except a few riverboat casinos and casinos, which are convenience stores that won't have this technology. And you can enjoy that. You can take the most of that. And so start looking for patterns. Yeah. Right. And conversations amongst everybody. I'm going to ask. Let's see. Addie says, "Are there any options to shadow you, Professor, like the slots internship?" There are 1,000 casinos in the United States. If I went to 2 casinos per week, it would take me 10 years to go to every casino. So that's not a workable solution. Also, I would like to be home, but I am planning on one trip per month, and I will report on them here or on my website or on other YouTube videos. I am not looking to move my business into, I had considered being a paid speaker at casinos where I'd have an auditorium, a ballroom presentation, and Paula would man a table in the back with a camera if I could get her to do it. And everybody would just rush right on over to her. I've considered doing that. But again, just being gone all the time, I can reach more people with videos. But I also can't video inside of a casino walking around. You might notice that there's none walking around or very few. The slots channel's just pointed directly at the slot machine. So I don't know that there's an opportunity for that. I'm working hard to shadow me. I'm working hard to, family members and other stuff I'll do that with, but otherwise I can't really get a lot of people in. Now there is Peter Liston in Australia who was really good at progressive machines in the 70s, and he will pay even today. You say, pay me $7,999 and I will fly anywhere in the country. Peter says he will do this anywhere in the world. And he will talk to you for 3 days about how to win at progressive slots. But these are machines from the 70s, and they don't really exist anymore. So I don't think I want to have that kind of business because I would like to be home. Not always. I mean, I like to be home mostly. Fat Daddy, the trucker. I have, so what is it? I'm playing $100 slots. I used to make it a habit to put $100 into one of the online high limit slots. And I was usually only playing the $5, $10 denominations, $25, $30 bets. And I would put $100 into the high $100 machine. And I just, who can afford that? I knew some people who could afford that, but it was really kind of like they own their own company. And maybe, in a couple of years, I'll be able to do that because of the more income that I might be getting here. But that is completely what a lot of slots channels will do. And I'm like, just don't think that's a good plan. I don't particularly care for $100 machines. Now, I did find out that if the whole casino is set up to have taste, then it's a fine machine to play. And it's the only time I've ever won. I won $5,000 on it once, just a minuscule win, right, on a $100 machine. It's a minuscule win, and I did that. But I'm not here to, is it Slots Queen? I think she's been on the show sometimes. I'm not sure she's here now. She showed her monthly ad revenue from YouTube in her videos that she puts out like every 3 days, and her income was $40,000 per month, but a third from YouTube. But a third, I don't do anything like that. I'm trying to just recover from being laid off. A third of that would go to taxes. But then she was talking about, she can't give up her day job, so she must spend like 2/3 of it. No, not 2/3 of it. It would be 3/4 maybe. No, that would be worse. Half of it. Just playing high limit machines and losing that money, but recording a video, which she makes $40,000 a month, and she just can't give up her day job. And I'm like, that's no way to run a business. Okay. Lynn says, can't see the price, $97. It'll be $197 after May 7th, and probably switch that on early on May 7th once it starts becoming less beta. Right. We're getting down to the last few seconds. What are your thoughts? Doug says, what are your thoughts on casinos reducing payouts, now trying to collect some? I have 3 articles. I'm trying to get them out, but it's very busy with trying to launch the course. One in Florida, commercial casinos in Miami-Dade and Broward counties on the return to player since the beginning of 2019. Graphs, and I've talked about it here. Last week, I think this live stream was New Jersey, but there's an article on that. I hope to have videos on non-live stream videos. And then I also did, what was it? Florida, Mississippi. I did Mississippi, Florida, Mississippi, New Jersey, and I'm going to do all of them, but it's just a matter of getting them in. They each take time, and I've got like 18 states that have monthly returns that I was going to promote on. So Florida had stopped doing it. They certainly had done it, but they stopped. Mississippi had done some of it, but then they returned the numbers. But New Jersey, they recovered. I guess it was November, December, just trying to remember the graphs. But then January, February, they sank again. So, yeah. You're thinking about it the right way. Okay. So, I'm not going to be able to get through more of these questions, unfortunately. Because we're out of time, I've been considering having like a 2-hour live stream, but even then it would have to be like, well, I wish I could have a 3-hour one. So I am going to call it a day, or not. It's so many other things to do. It is time for me to say thank you. Thanks for a great show. Have fun. Be safe. Make good choices. Bye. Remember to visit ProfessorSlots.com/subscribe to get my free report revealing the top 7 online resources for improving your gambling performance, including the one I've used as a top-tier slot machine casino gambler. This is the next segment of the show on slot machine casino gambling. Here I provide a brief overview of the current state of gambling in a U.S. state, territory, or the federal district, emphasizing by far anything of interest to slot machine casino gamblers. Up next is Minnesota slot machine casino gambling in 2021. Here goes. Minnesota slot machine casino gambling consists of 19 tribal casinos. The minimum legal gambling age in Minnesota depends upon the gambling activity. For land-based casinos, it's 18 or 21 if alcohol is available. For poker rooms, bingo, the lottery, and parimutuel wagering, it's 18. The Minnesota House Research Department has documented the convoluted history of legalized gambling in Minnesota from 1945 to 2005 in Gambling in Minnesota, A Short History. Tribal state gaming compacts established tribal gaming regulations for Minnesota's 11 federally recognized American Indian tribes, the first to do so of any U.S. state. 22 negotiated compacts have produced 19 tribal casinos in the state. Each tribe has 2 compacts, one for video games of chance and a second compact for card games. Tribal casinos operate under a combination of state law, tribal ordinance, and tribal state compacts. These gaming compacts permit Class 3 Vegas-style games of chance slot machines. Class 2 games of skill machines are unregulated. Explicitly prohibited are blackjack and non-banked card games such as poker. Also banned are electronic video games like video poker and video keno. The gaming compact stipulate the Minnesota Department of Public Safety is responsible for the inspection and approval of these video gaming machines. Both parties agreed that the compact should be effective to perpetuity, but renegotiations can occur if desired by both parties. Minnesota makes all tribal gaming compacts publicly available at Tribal State Gaming Compacts, consisting of 100 downloadable PDF files including their associated renewals and updates. Next up is a usually short statement about slot machine private ownership, which I have included in case you live in this U.S. state and are considering owning a slot machine. Here it is. It is legal to own a slot machine privately in Minnesota. Minnesota has 6 gaming control boards for various aspects of gambling oversight. The gaming compacts provide for inspection and approval of video gaming machines by the Department of Public Safety's Alcohol and Gaming Enforcement Division, AEGD. Further, gaming compact regulations approve the licensing of casino employees, machine payout percentages, and regulation of the play of blackjack, as well as licensing of manufacturers and distributors of gaming devices, gambling criminal enforcement and investigation, and assure compliance with tribal state compacts. In this section, I'll discuss Minnesota's gambling establishments. Minnesota has 19 American Indian tribal casinos. The largest casino in Minnesota is Mystic Lake Casino Hotel. The second largest casino is Treasure Island Resort and Casino. Minnesota's 2 parimutuel racetracks do not offer gaming machines of any classification. Minnesota has 19 tribal casinos. As usual, when there are too many casinos to mention here, a complete list along with a casino map are on my webpage for this state at professorslots.com/mn. As an alternative to enjoying Minnesota slot machine casino gambling, consider exploring casino options in a nearby state. Bordering Minnesota is to the north the Canadian provinces of Manitoba and Ontario. To the east, Wisconsin and across Lake Superior, Michigan. To the south, Iowa, and to the west, North Dakota and South Dakota. To visit any of my articles on these U.S. states, simply visit professorslots.com followed by its 2-letter postal designation. For example, my Wisconsin slots article is available at professorslots.com/WI. Are you interested in sharing and learning with other slots enthusiasts in Minnesota? If so, join our Minnesota Slots community on Facebook at professorslots.com/FBMN. All you'll need is a Facebook profile to join this private Facebook group freely. There, you'll be able to privately share your slots experiences as well as chat with players about slots gambling in or near Minnesota. Again, use this convenient link I've created to go directly to our group on Facebook, professorslots.com/FBMN. Join us. Minnesota's negotiated state tribal gaming compacts have set minimum and maximum theoretical payouts for slot machines at 80% and 95% over the lifetime of the game. Further, video keno and similar games must have a minimum theoretical payout limit of 75% for each number of spots marked per wager. Video games of chance affected by player skill, such as video poker and video blackjack, have a minimum and maximum theoretical payout requirement of 83% and 98% over the lifetime of the game. These limits assume optimal play. Minnesota's tribal casinos don't offer publicly available return statistics. In summary, Minnesota slot machine casino gambling consists of 19 tribal casinos. In the last year, there has been little to no change in the slots gaming industry in Minnesota. Remember to sign up at professorslots.com/30days to register for my online course for slots enthusiasts. 30 days to play slots smarter and win, including how to leave a casino with your winnings. Part 1 of the next episode of the Professor Slots podcast will include a live stream Q&A session on YouTube. Remember, my weekly Q&A session on YouTube is on Saturdays from noon until 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Bring whatever slots questions you have, and I'll do my best to answer them. An easy-to-remember link to my YouTube channel is youtube.com/professorslots. Feel free to stop by anytime during my hour-long live Q&A session. Part 2 of the next episode of the Professor Slots podcast is another brief overview of the current state of gambling in a U.S. state, territory, or the federal district. Next time, I'll be talking to you about the great U.S. state of Mississippi. That's the end of another great episode of the Professor Slots podcast. Thanks so much for listening. Show notes for this episode are on my website at professorslots.com/episode 136. I plan to have the next episode come out very soon for you, where I'll have more amazing content for the show. Until the next episode, have fun, be safe, and make good choices. Bye.